Good morning and welcome to the Daily Huddle. Irma's here. Oh my God, the world is better already. If you're watching us on YouTube, the Daily Huddle streams live on a daily basis on YouTube at Daily Huddle. Welcome. Today's conversation is entitled Your Business, Your Terms. You might translate it to say your life, your terms. I have a very good friend with me this morning, Mr. Rex Sikes. Rex is an author, and the book he wrote is Life on Your Terms. He's a professional speaker, life and business mentor, consultant, and an educator. He's also an actor and filmmaker and consultant to the entertainment industry. Rex presents seminars, public and corporate programs, full workshops, and training events. Those are all qualifications that make him who he is in the world. But who he is to us is our friend, our collaborator, the one who says, I too exist to create a world that works for everyone. And if you've ever been wondering why your business doesn't feel quite the way you want it to feel, Rex is here to unpack what may be in the background, called maybe you're running your business on terms other than yours. Good morning, Rex. It's so great to have you again.
Well, good morning, Sorrel, and wow, what a wonderful introduction and questions that you led the show off with. I really appreciate being here. I appreciate you. I love you. And if truth be told, I approached Sorrel just a short while ago. I said, I've always had this plan to do the business version of Life on Your Terms, and can you help me figure out, how I might call it? And he said, how about Your Business, Your Terms? And I'm like, yeah, I like that. So thank you for that, good sir.
Thank you for including me in that creation, but really it was all inspired by you. I'm so excited about this, right? I've been in business for a long time now, since 1999, Rex. And I have had periods in my life where it seemed as if the business was running me and I wasn't running it. It seemed as if it was pulling me along and I just obeyed, right? And there were years where it was, downright miserable, unhappy periods in my life running a business, growing a business. And I've gotten on the other side of it. And I imagine the conversation we're going to have this morning will assist others in being where they are and getting on the other side of it. So tell me this, Rex. When we say your terms, on your terms, let's first, could you distinguish for us what it looks like when you're either doing life or your business on something other than your terms?
Well, that's a great question. And I wrote the book and called it Life on Your Terms, Create the Life You Want, because a lot of people live life, but they probably should treat it like a business. They should invest in themselves and expect a return on their investment, but they shouldn't let it get out of control where it runs them instead of them running it. After all, it is your life. And so you need to figure out what it is you intend to create and then create that and realize that no one can really create it for you. In other words, I can't come in and do your exercises for you. I can't do your push-ups and I can't do your sit-ups. I can't do those things for you. And so no one can do what you need to do to take control of your life. And when I say control of your life, I mean that somewhat loosely, because life, after all, before all of the silliness of society and where we are today in terms of having to work for a living, and to pay rent and all these kinds of things, that's just the world we're in. But life is to be enjoyed. It's to be celebrated. It's the, when you look at flowers out there, in this Bible verses, they don't toil in order to grow. They just grow. They experience the fullness of the universe, and they do it. And of course, you can say, well, that's a flower. It's not a human. Well, that's the point. The human complicates it. The flower just does it. And so you want to uncomplicate your life. You want to live it while you have the chance to live it fully with the relationships that you really want to have and that you prefer. You don't want to get to the end of life and go, I should have spent more time with my family or my friends. I didn't need another car. I didn't need another house, but what I did need was close connections, or I needed a sense of fulfillment. Because a lot of people chase money, they chase business, they chase fame, they chase all these things only to find out that they're not fulfilling. So life on your terms means you get to live the life that you want to live, that's truly important to you, and that maybe in that process you need to clarify what's really important to you. Now consider your business. Sometimes your business determines.
Rex, could you pause for a second? Because what you just said, I think, is critical. Maybe living life or running a business on my terms begins with me clarifying what's important to me. So if we flip the question, would you say that when I'm not living life on my terms or my business on my terms, I'm actually in a space where I have not clarified what's important to me?
That would be a good
just running.
No, that would be a good way to describe it. I mean, Napoleon Hill said only 2 out of 100 people will ever, create the success that they want, or the income that they want, or the health that they want, or the happiness that they want, because they will drift. They will just let things happen. They will, they will not take. It's like if you're in a boat and it doesn't have a sail and it doesn't have an engine, it doesn't have a tiller and a rudder, or it doesn't have oars. You just go where the waves of the wind take you, and that's how a lot of people live their lives. They say, I want this, but then they don't actually do the things that they need to. Or alternatively, they chase this and they work on this and they sacrifice everything. They work really hard. They sweat. They do everything they can think of. They get frustrated, angry, fearful, doubtful, worried, and all that. They create stress and bad health and bad, karma, bad relationships, bad, all that kind of stuff. When if they just stop and go, what is it that I'm really after that's truly important, that would be fulfilling for me and not intrusive or ruin anybody else's parade? How can I collaborate and cooperate to have the best life, the best business, the best experience possible, and maybe share that with the people I care about? There's so frequently I've been called in to consult with people who got lots of money, they got everything, but they're not happy, and they worked really hard. So here's the thing why life on your terms is important, and about clarifying. There's a myth in our society that if you work hard, you'll get ahead. Well, there are plenty of people who work hard who are struggling to make ends meet. There are plenty of laborers who are working, toiling day in and day out, who aren't rich, but they are helping other people get rich by the efforts of their labor, by them sweat and their sacrifice and the long hours and the low pay and the So it's not working hard. And Napoleon Hill said you need to, it's not think and not work hard and grow rich. It is think and grow rich.
And grow rich.
And there's a reason for that. When your mindset and your attitude is correct, when it is right, when it serves you instead of you serving a business or chasing, money or something, then everything else falls in place. And this is truly, truly important. I began my work because of the placebo effect studies back in the 70s. If you have expectations that this might help you, it might help you. And if you have expectations that it's not going to help you, it most likely won't help you. Attitude is the #1 predictor for success in every area of your life. And here's what we do know. Science bears this out, medical science bears it out, psychological science bears it out, emotional science bears it out, even financial, that if you're stress-free, if you don't have chronic, overwhelming stress, because what stress does to the body, when you're struggling, when you're working hard, when you can't see the end, when the month is longer than your dollar is and things like that, your neurology is depressed, your immune system is depressed. You actually, your brain and your eyes actually constrict so that you don't see figuratively and literally the opportunities and possibilities that are around you. And if you consider what life is about, there's infinite opportunities and infinite possibilities, somewhat constrained or restricted by society. But other than that, it's wide open.
Rex, rewind just a little bit and say again, you may not say it in the same words. I heard you say, when I am stressed, my vision literally constricts, both figuratively and physically.
Well, we're this amazing amalgamation of cells and neurons and chemicals and hormones and all this stuff that so this notion of fight or flight, there's fight, there's flight, there's freeze. When you're stuck, when you're out in the jungle or you're out in the desert or you're in an urban area or you're doing something and someone threatens you or something threatens you, you start to pump adrenaline. Your body responds by pushing chemicals into your system that takes the blood from your brain and put it into your extremities so that you can fight or you can run. It constricts your vision so that you don't need your peripheral vision as much because you need to go, where do I run to? And so it narrows everything down. Your center vision, your foveal vision becomes accentuated, but all the other opportunities, everything else is lost. So it's like this. If you sit there and you run, you don't want and your brain doesn't go, what should I do now? How should I do it? Who do I call? It just, so when that happens, you're geared to fight or to flee, or you freeze and you're stuck where you are. And that is how a lot of us live almost chronically. We're not in where we're going to fight all the time, but we have the stress, we have those hormones, those chemicals searching through our body. That depresses our ability to think clearly, to see opportunities and possibilities. There's the reticular activating system in the brain that says what's important I will find. So if you're afraid and you're doubtful and you're worried and you're sad and you're negative, it finds more of that in order to protect you, essentially. But while it's doing that, not you personally, but we as a species suffer because we're constantly being flooded by cortisol and the hormones that are designed to be used and released, but they're not. They're now chronic. And so it becomes more debilitating.
Yeah.
And
So this,
we have illness, physical illness, emotional illness, mental illness as a result.
so this chronic condition that you speak of is like normal for human beings. It's like automatic. So
in
is
today's
it fair to
society,
say that I am not running a business on my terms? I'm not living life on my terms when I'm on automatic like that?
yeah, if you're reacting to what's going on instead of understanding how to respond to something, because responding means you have a choice. Reacting means you don't have a choice. It's like when you have, your reflex tested, they hit a hammer on your knee and it just kicks out. You're triggered to do that. You're triggered to respond in a particular way and it bypasses your ability to make a choice. So if you don't have a choice, what are you? You're constrained by whatever is constraining you. But if you have a choice, you have at least two options, which is not really much of a choice. I can go or I can stay as much. But if you have three choices or four choices, you don't need 100 of them. But if you need three or four, it opens up the doorway.
So I'm interested a little bit in your own journey, Rex. Was there a time when life was not on your terms and something happened and you began to discover for yourself this automatic way of being in life and in business, and you made a transition and started living on your terms?
Oh, gosh, yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, many times, in life, it's we think life on our terms means that it's fixed and there's never any other alternatives. What it really means is that the preponderance of your life is spent enjoying your life. And what I learned through a lot of struggle and a lot of hardship and a lot of difficulty, a lot of problems, a lot of loss, a lot, personal, relational, money, whole thing, is you got to learn to celebrate all of it. When you're grateful for all of it, then everything begins to change. When you understand that your hardships and your problems, while it may not be true, when I use that word loosely, if you can reframe it and think, these are serving me. This problem that I'm facing isn't there to hurt me, harm me, or debilitate, take from me. It's there to wake me up to how I'm comfortable or how I'm stuck or how I'm comfortable being stuck so that I don't even notice that I'm stuck. I'm just moving along, drifting. That is there to wake me up. So it's like an alarm clock. Our problems, our difficulties, our obstacles, our failures, or whatever is feedback to say, hey, guess what? There's another way to do this. And if you can recognize that, then everything becomes part of the fabulous adventure and a journey. Because again, mindset is the number one predictor for success. So in my life, I as a young man, I had lots of problems. I write about it in my book, and And I I lost everything. I lost a romance that was important to me. I lost my friends. I lost my business, my career opportunities at the time. I lost my money. I managed to keep my apartment, but other than that, I was like pretty miserable. And what I learned through it when I came out the other side was because when I was in it, I'm thinking, why is this happening to me? How could I be so stupid? Why did everything go wrong? How come they don't like me? Why? And I realized in that I was asking questions I didn't really know, that I didn't want the answer to. I wanted to know, how could I feel good again? How soon could I feel good? Not how long would it take, but how quickly could I discover that I was okay, and not just okay, but that I could live a good life and enjoy life and get my friends back and get my career back and start making money again and feel. But mostly, I wanted to just feel good about myself, and I realized I had to direct my own attention. I had to claim my own mindset back and stop putting it on blaming others or complaining or whining or being, sad and depressed and angry and fearful and all that stuff, and go, what is it that I can do, think, see, feel, be, hear, smell, taste, and experience that makes me feel good? And I've felt good before, so I must be able to feel good again, and things like that. And so I started this process of just asking myself questions like, well, if I were to feel really good, how would I be feeling right now? And there's a tendency to go, but that won't happen. That'll never happen. Or I really want to be rich. And then you go, but I don't know how to do that. It's the, but I don't know how to do that, or that will never happen, that robs you from being in the feeling of, this is really good. And I love this. And I feel free and I feel confident and I feel alive and everything is one. When you have that attitude, and this is why Hill said it's thinking rich, when your attitude is right, and you feel it, the chemicals being released in your body are opening your neurology up to possibilities, so that you can see opportunities either within yourself and the resources within you or outside of you. So when it comes to your life or it comes to your business, if your attitude isn't right, then everything else is potentially a struggle. But when your attitude is right and you're celebrating everything, then you're doing what you love to be doing, and the hardships that come along. I always say this: the Wright brothers didn't know how to fly. They were experimenting. They were failing. They got criticized from everybody, including their own family. And it wasn't until after they flew that they knew how to fly. Before that, they were trying it and it wasn't working. And then one day it worked and they went, whoa, we did it. And they could improve on it. Right? So, but they kept going through the hardship. A lot of people quit because of the hardship. They quit because of other people. They quit because they don't know what to do. It isn't as important to know what to do and to work really hard as it is to feel really good and think really well, so that if you love what you're doing, you never work a day in your life. And that's what I discovered. And I've had other times in my life where things seem to get out of control, or I lost sight of that, or something happened, or the rug got pulled out from under me. And then it's, how do you approach this one? And sometimes early on, it would be kind of a revert back to the old, oh my God, this is happening again. And then you go, but it doesn't have to, because what I learned from the last time I can apply to this time. So gradually, step by step, experience by experience, you begin to claim back your life. But it's not that you hang on to it and like this. It's that you like this. You're like, yes, life is good. Life is wonderful. And that's when things start to get magical.
Oh, so Rex, when we come back after questions, because I do want to give people an opportunity to interact with you, I'd love for you to wrap it up with what you have as a set of practices to stay present and to stay thinking right.
Sure.
If I'm hearing you, your business on your terms begins with thinking right. Rashida, good morning.
Grand Rising, everyone. Rex, thank you so much. I love you. I love you.
Thank you.
You are hit it on the nail. Thank you so much for confirmation. I am so happy. You don't know, Rex. You just let me know that I'm free because I'm doing exactly what I love to do, and it makes me happy. Every morning I wake up and I do exactly what I want to do, but it's not a job. It's not a job. I don't have a job. I do it with my heart, with my mind. It's so great. Thank you for the confirmation. I am taking away everything with me today, and I'm going to live life to the fullest. Thank you, Rick. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for that share. That's beautiful. And
Your business,
we celebrate
your
together.
terms. Now, folks, this is just the beginning of this journey. Your business, your terms, whether this title sticks or not, Rex. Rex's goal is to begin the creation of a newsletter, a space where people like you and me can come and dip ourselves into what it takes to live life and run a business on our terms. Rex, tell us, what is your personal practice as a pro and as a human being? You know, there's the pro, there's a human being that come together. What is your practice? Maybe you have a daily practice that you engage in to stay present and continue to be on your terms.
I mean, think of it this way, you know, if you're out of shape, and I've been out of shape and, you know, could be in better shape and all that kind of stuff physically, and you want to, say, have the body of a sculpted athlete or someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger or a female example, in order to do that, you have to eat right, sleep right, and exercise the right amount. Well, after you get conditioned and you go through the conditioning process, you have the physique that you want or the health that you want, then it's maintenance. You don't have to do the same amount of stuff that you did getting into shape necessarily, but you do have to maintain it, you know, in the same way that if you're in your boat and the wind stops, you still have to be going in the destination you want to go in order to get to that destination. But again, it's how you journey. So one of the things I tell people is, you know, Muhammad Ali said he hated to train, but he knew that he wanted to be the best boxer at the time in the world, and he certainly was. But because he knew what he wanted and he loved boxing and that so much, he got up and trained anyway, even when he didn't feel like it, when the couch was far more comfortable or the weather outside was not appropriate. He did it because he had this purpose in his life, and that was to accomplish what he wanted to accomplish. So when I say you don't have to work hard, it doesn't mean that there's no effort. It just means that the attitude towards your work differs. If you go, I hate this, it's tough. I say, oh, you're not going to do it too long unless you're just a masochist, you know. As I always say, a sadist is someone who's kind to a masochist. So if you beat yourself up a lot, you're a little of both. And you don't want to do that. Right? You want to make it easier. So I write about this gentleman, Jamie Nieto, who's a two-time Olympic contender, a champion athlete who was made it quadriplegic and through an accident. And I called him when I found out, and I said, Jamie, if anybody knows how to get up and move again, it will be you. And he has. The doctor said he had maybe a chance of feeding himself at one point, and that would be the extent that he could do. And now he's walking and moving. He works. He's an actor, producer, writer. He's fathered 2 children. His wife is an Olympic champion because he understands the value of conditioning. He understood that his attitude toward being an Olympic champion, he could bring toward walking and moving again and using his arms and limbs instead of, you know, going, I can't do this. He's like, I can learn to do this. And through his faith in himself and through his faith in God or the universe and his conditioning practice, he reclaimed his life. So what do I do? Lots of different things, and I'll share a couple of them. One is I add novelty to my life. Now, this is going to sound crazy, but it's truly important. The brain loves novelty and it loves consistency, and I talk more about it in the book, but add novelty. That means do things you don't normally do in a playful way, because as kids, you know, you come across firsts all the time. You know, what's that butterfly? What is this? Why is that? How come this? And you're curious, and life is an adventure, and it's this incredible place. And as an adult, we tend to weed out that stuff. So you want to recapture that joy. You know, I encourage adults to roll down hills, and they go, well, why would you do that? Because when you roll as an adult, when's the last time you did it? When's the last time you did a somersault or a cartwheel? Carefully, of course, you know, if you But as kids, you do that kind of stuff all the time. They whirl and they twirl. Well, all of that is good for our neurology. When you roll, when you spin, when you dip your head down beneath the horizon, because normally we lie on our beds or we stand up or we sit, and unless you practice yoga or something else, you don't really get down. Do you know that it's physically impossible to be angry while standing on your head? You're conditioned to gravity. Your whole chemistry, all of your processes aren't. You can't be angry, or you can't be angry if you do this and you hold your eyebrows up, because this is how you ask questions. Is that true? Really? It's surprise. This is like, go do that. So when you're angry, you're like this. But if you're like that, you can't maintain the anger. So
You-
things like, I mean, isn't that amazing? Smiling,
yeah.
just the act of smiling changes everything. People don't realize that they don't smile a lot. In other words, when you're having a problem, instead of going, you smile or open your mouth and smile, laugh, be vigorous, allow the world to surprise and delight you, recapture the joy of learning. Go a different way to work. Don't always do the same routine. Eat different foods. Learn different things. Take a different program. Practice puzzles, play games, take up a musical instrument, learn a language, meet new people. I hate the term like-minded people because I don't just want to be surrounded by like-minded people. They say, get rid of all the negative people in your life. And I'm kind of like, no, I don't really want to do that. What I want to do is not be affected by the negative people in my life. And that's on me. Why make them change or remove myself from them when it's up to me to say, it's not a problem. This is cool. I can accept you as who you are, even if I don't agree with you. Or if you're an energy vampire, it doesn't mean you have to deplete me of my energy. See, it's Halloween is coming up. So, the notion of a vampire is that they can't come into your house unless you invite them. And that's what people do with their problems and with people who are problems and circumstances. They allow them in, and then they go, oh, this sucks. I don't like this. I can't stand it. Why did I do this? And they blame themselves, and they blame the people, and they blame the events, and they blame the circumstances. And that's how they live. And it's time to take control. So celebrate things. I go dog crap or diamonds. It's always a choice. It's always a choice. And that's the biggest key, is to recognize. That's what I do every day. It's a choice. If something comes up that I don't like or don't appreciate or don't want, the moment I become aware that I'm reacting that way and I go, oh, this is unacceptable, I don't like this, or this is terrible, or I'm getting angry, I can pat myself on the back and go, I just noticed that I got angry, or I just noticed I'm getting angry. I'm not celebrating. I'm not going, yeah, I got angry, this is great, let's do it again. I'm going, oh, I just did something I didn't really want to do. Good for noticing. Congratulations, Rex, for being aware. And now, what is it that I want to do this time and the next time? And I imagine if something like that happens again, what else I could be doing? How else could I behave? And I imagine 2 or 3 or 4 different scenarios where that would be important to behave in that way. And what the purpose of that is if you can imagine doing it again successfully the way you want to, with this person and that person and a different person, where you have those same feelings or thoughts or issues that you don't like. Now you're rehearsing being that different you in the future, and you're being specific. Like when I see them, when I hear their voice on the phone, when I go home and I'm putting my key in the door and I'm going, oh crap, the world sucks, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to whine and complain and have a cocktail or whatever. If when I'm putting the key in the door, I have rehearsed going, I feel good. This is great. I'm home. I'm going to relax. I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to read a good book. I'm going to do something fun. I'm going to go, you change by determining to change. That's why actors and athletes practice what they're going to do, so that when the starting whistle or gun goes off, the body memory takes over. So when the lights come up and the curtains go up, the body memory is all there, so that they now perform as they intended to perform, because they rehearsed it. And you can rehearse it in your head. You can rehearse it, by your thoughts. You can rehearse it emotionally. You can rehearse it behaviorally. So I've started by adding novelty, so that you add in, and I kind of brought it around to practice the kinds of things that you want to do by becoming aware of the things you don't want to do and making a deliberate choice to change what you were doing into what you want to be doing instead. And then just keep doing it, condition yourself. And again, my book is all about that.
What a phenomenal conversation, Rex. And, I love to boil things down to something digestible, but this time I'm resisting that. Because to do that would diminish what you've created with us. And what I do want to say to folks is this. Rex is going to create this newsletter, and Rex is going to create for outside of this venue, his own podcast. It may be entitled Your Business, Your Terms, but rest assured, every episode of it, every edition of this newsletter is going to be an opportunity for you to practice getting really clear about what you love and give yourself the permission to love it. Getting really clear about what your purpose is in doing that, and practicing doing that over and over. And I love what you said, Rex. Add a little novelty to my life. I'm going to practice that today.
It's really important. Physiologically, it's important because if you always do everything, the brain atrophies without use. This keeps you alive and vibrant and joyful and happy. And the more you're like a child, that's why it says you don't enter the kingdom of heaven unless you become like little children. Think of it as opening up the avenues to anything and everything you could imagine. There's plenty of people, and I'm sorry, but plenty of people work really hard, get lots of things, and they're not fulfilled. The key is be fulfilled, and you can enjoy all the things, because there are plenty of people out there who are fulfilled, who have nothing, but they're still fulfilled. And there are people who have everything and they're not fulfilled at all. So there's a learning in that people need to embrace.
Awesome, Rex. Well, our time's up, brother.
Oh,
really love that you created the time to be with us. And I really also love the fact that you were so generous to let the Daily Huddle be the space inside of which you create what's new in your life. So thank you for being here. We'll end on our tenets. The Daily Huddle, folks, is yours. It's yours to do what Rex just did. So come on in, subscribe online at the Daily Huddle on YouTube, or join us here on Zoom every day, Monday through Friday. Our hosts are as generous as Rex just demonstrated. One of them is right here with us, Miss Tara Heaton. So grateful for you. So folks, as you depart, be sure to love yourself, love what you're up to, love what other people are up to, and let them just be. Eat mostly plant-based, laugh out loud. If you look in the mirror like I do in the morning, you will see something that you want to laugh at. Laugh at yourself, for God's sake. Life is not that serious. Give. Sleep well, even if you're sleeping 2 hours because you're doing something you really love and you don't want to stop. Get that rest. Give, move your body, and last but not least, check yourself. And what I mean by that is what Rex said. You're angry and you noticed it. That's what it looks like to check yourself and say, thank God. Thank you for being aware and awake. I'm now going to choose something different. That's what that tenet is all about. To check and to choose. So have a phenomenal weekend. Come right back here on Monday morning. Love you. Giovanni loves you more. Until then.
Thank you, guys. That was great. Thank you, Rex.